Hello, friends and family members. I'm sorry it's been a while since we've had a chance to talk. You know, in my lifetime, I've been fortunate to have some friends that were a lot older than me. One, of course, is Mojo Collins that you see on this channel. There's also Uncle Louie, Jalu, kind of the unofficial Reuben Kincaid of Soul Rebel. You see him sometimes pop up in the videos in the background, kind of unofficial manager and sound engineer and just overall good guy to consult with the group. And then there's also George Becker of Hatteras Village. Now, I've had the pleasure of knowing George for some years now, and he is a very kind man, kind of known for his lilting German accent and very kind demeanor, as well as incredibly enthusiastic outlook on life. Now, George has had a very interesting life. Survivor of World War II Germany, immigrated to America as a young man, and has lived in Hatteras Village since the late 70s. George is an old man now, and there was some things I think that he wanted to maybe just get on the record. He invited me to his house for lunch. This is my conversation with him. Please have a look. Thank you. Okay, this is reel 3. If you want, you could just start with your name there, and then we'll go into that other thing.
Well, my name is Jürgen Ernst Georg Becker. My first name and the two first names of my grandfathers. When I was in Pittsburgh, at first I lived at the YMCA. They had a restaurant there, I had a room there, and I could take a shower and everything there. There was an older man there. He was a judge, and he came with his friend. He was in his 70s maybe, and he was always sitting next to me on a table. I was sitting by myself on another table, but I heard what they had to say. And this judge, who had given many, many years ago $120,000 to charity, which was a lot of money in those days. And I overheard what they said, and he said, there are people coming here to the United States and they have such and such a name and you cannot even pronounce it and anything. They should call themselves John or Henry or something like that. And I overheard that and I said, my name is Jürgen Ernst Georg Becker. They call me Jürgen here. Well, this is not an American name. I call myself George, which means more. The German version, Jürgen, is more Scandinavian, but means the same thing. So I called myself George, and people added an E at the end, then, which was fine with me. So I'm George Becker now. Now, I have to say things about the Nazis, too.
That's fine.
Because I lived under it.
Yeah. But yeah, how have things been? How you been in general?
Have a few pains here and there, but pain pills take care of it, and I make myself a nice life.
How long have you been a resident here on Hatteras?
I have come to Hatteras about 44 years ago. I have lived in this cottage for 42 years. It used to be, it was put up by Mr. Goldberg, the real estate agent who wanted to sell all this land here. He put up this prefab cottage and wanted me to live in here. And I've been in here in this cottage for 42 years.
So talk about Germany and how did you come to this country?
Do you want me to talk about my life? I can do that.
Absolutely.
I must tell you, I was born on October the 30th, 1927. I was 5 years old. This was in Berlin, Germany, and I was 5 years old when Hitler came into power. I wore uniform, not every day, but at meetings, since I was 8 years old. This was in 1936 when they had the Olympics in Berlin. Everything was fine until then. My grandfather was a master gardener, and he had 3 gardens. And in one of the gardens in Berlin, we had a little cottage. Of course, you know, it didn't have electricity and only cold water running outside, but we were very happy. And in the summertime and in the fall, we spent every afternoon there. My grandmother, on mother's side also, had a flower shop. She started it in 1900 and had it for 54 years. When I was younger, I went there on weekends and delivered flowers to people who had ordered them, and they gave me tips. My grandmother was very nice to me. I stayed overnight. She had employees and so on. She gave me a little bit of money. So I always had a little bit of money ever since I was very, very young. And went to the movies a lot. And so when I was 15 years old, we were drafted with a school into the anti-air defense in Berlin. See, they didn't have enough soldiers at the time, and they had to use young children or young kids, you know, teenagers, to man the guns to shoot in the anti-air defense. You know, when the Americans or the British came and dropped bombs, we had to shoot at them. The British came during the day and the Americans came at night. We lived in barracks. Sometimes they were destroyed, and we were in 2 classes, Class A and Class B. In other words, like in the morning, Class A had school, and Class B could man the guns, and in the afternoon it was the opposite. So there was always one class that they could be with the guns when as the anti-air defense. So I was there for about 2 years. In December 1944, I was free. I was in Berlin. Much was destroyed, but we went to theaters, we went to movies, we went to the opera. It was Christmas time, and there were very few air raids during that month because people liked, you know, to spend a nice Christmas time in England or America just the same as in Germany. We had the same things. I was drafted on January the 2nd in 1945 to the Western Front. My father told me to volunteer for the Navy. We didn't have a Navy anymore. But he said you will be drafted to the Western Front, not to the Russian Front. In that case, I probably wouldn't even be here right now. Anyway, I became a British prisoner in the spring there, and they transported us to Belgium in cattle cars. We were about 60,000 prisoners in one camp. They had little round tents. We slept on the floor. We didn't get out of our uniforms or anything for months, but they let us have a shower once a week, and we got enough to eat, which was very nice. Anyway, I stayed there for several months, and on November the 3rd of 1945, they announced that anyone who was still 17 on October the 26th, that included me because I was born October the 30th, would be released and sent to Germany. Well, they sent us to Germany in cattle cars. They couldn't send us to cities because they were destroyed. They sent us to farmers because they had enough to eat. In the cities, they didn't have anything to eat, and we slept in barns, on the hay, or things like that. And next spring, the following spring, I made my way back to Berlin. I found out that my parents were still living. I was very happy, and I worked here and there a little bit, and I became a photo retoucher, an apprentice. I was an apprentice for 2.5 years, and after that I was a photo retoucher at the former Ulstein Publishing House. They had 2,000 employees left. They had another building which was destroyed. They had 20,000 employees at the time, but there were over 2,000 people left. While I was living in Hatteras, and I retired at age 75, I knew very many people here. And for about 10 years, every Friday afternoon, not in the summertime, but spring, fall, winter, and spring, I had people coming here, and I had DVDs and showed operas. And people came here. Sometimes were not many, sometimes only 2, sometimes 4, 5, 6. At one time, with us, we were 14 people here in this little room, and I showed a DVD of an opera where all those people were seniors because the younger ones had to work. And all of them died or moved away. I watch one every afternoon. I have a large collection, and I watch one DVD every afternoon. I need that to keep my brain working, and I'm very happy.
How did experiencing war change you, change the way you look at life today?
Oh my God. It was living under Hitler. Of course, we could not say anything, or else we would have put into a concentration camp or hanged on the nearest lamppost, which they did at times. We couldn't say anything at the time. But I'm so glad that all of this is over. And it's a much better world, even in Germany right now. It's not quite as good, not as quite as nice as here in the United States. Why do I say that? Because it was because of our forefathers. They developed the most wonderful constitution. And they said people could say, I want this, and people could say, I want that. And whoever has more votes will be in. It was wonderful. I vote for one side. It doesn't hurt me if the other side wins. Maybe in 4, 8 years, our side wins again. So I'm very happy.
What is your hope for the future?
My hope for the future is that this will stay the way it is. We're living in a time now where things could change. I hope it doesn't.
And is that your biggest fear?
It is my fear and other people's fear also. However, I'm 91, and by the time things change, I belong dead.
What would you say to the younger person that you were, knowing everything that you know now at your age? Or what would you say to a younger person today that you wish somebody had told you, say, when you were 18 or 20 years old?
Like I said before, if you asked me, have you sinned in life, and I mean me, I would say I don't think so. Have you made mistakes in life? I would say, oh my God, I made many, many mistakes because sometimes people were not nice to me and I was not nice to them. But I learned from my mistakes. Nowadays, if anyone would not be nice to me, I would just walk away and say thank you and walk away. Of course, here in Hatteras, people are so nice. I don't know any bad people here.
What would you say is the best thing about getting older?
Well, the best thing of getting older is have enough money to pay for your own life. That's number one. A big thing is not to get sick. In other words, many people have cancer. My younger brother, who was 2 years, 2 days and 2 hours younger than I am, died at age 43 of bladder cancer. I hope I never get cancer. It's very sad for people to live through cancer. Dying is not bad if it's fast, but not being sick for weeks or months or years.
But what is the best thing about getting older? Like most people focus on the negative aspects, but surely there are positive things, like maybe being more accepting or...
The most important thing is, like I said, to stay healthy and to develop your mind, to have a good mind, to make a nice life for yourself. I had a friend. She wrote 3 books. She lived in New Jersey. They had a big lot here with 2 houses and everything. She was very nice. She was an opera lover. But when she was 91, she was my best friend. She was very unhappy, depressed, and this depression sent her down, and she died at age 91. When I see depression coming from this side or that side, I hold my hands out and said, stay out here. I want no depression. I want to be or have a happy life. Because once you get depression, you are going down and may die.
And what would you say is the worst thing about getting older?
Ooh. I like to be old. I couldn't answer that question.
But I would say that losing friends, though, to me, would be the worst thing.
What's
about the people that you cared about your whole life, start dying.
Dying? Well, yes, we all have to die.
Yes.
And I have to face it too. But I ask the good Lord, when my time comes, can you please make it fast? I have many friends, so I'm a happy person. And like I said, I try to keep depression away from me.
What would you say to someone else that is an older person living alone that maybe doesn't feel as happy as you, that they feel crippled by loneliness?
I cannot do anything about that. That is their minds. I cannot change their minds.
But would you have any advice for somebody on how they maybe
All
could?
I say is, if you're healthy, you can make yourself a happy life, and if you live one day at a time, don't make anything and say, this is what I want to do in 6 months or in a year and so forth. No, not that. Today is a day, and at the end of the day, I thank the good Lord, for the day, and I said, maybe another day. I may live a year, I may live 5 more years, maybe can have a heart attack tomorrow, who knows. All I want, if he can make it, to have a fast death. We all, like I said, we all have to face it. Nobody is exempt. Nobody.
And what would you like to be remembered for?
What I want to be remembered for? I don't know for what. It is now that I live with my friends. It is now. That's an important time. The day I'm dead, let me say, I wouldn't care.
Do you have any special insight or advice to give to people watching this interview that, any of your fans that they would want to know about?
Yes, learn in life. I can say we have to learn in life. Since we make a mistake in the beginning, we do like other people do, but we have to learn and not to make mistakes and be nice to other people. If they're not nice to you, just walk away. Just don't be like they are. And I'm happy here, so.
Well, thank you, George, for having me over and for doing this talk.
Well, it's wonderful. You're one of my best friends. Of course, it's through your mother. She came first, and she introduced me to you. And I admire you very much.
And I admire you too, George, I think.
For everything you do.
You too as well, George.
And you're a musician. In other words, you are more than I am. I cannot play an instrument. I cannot sing. Yeah, I can enjoy the music. But you can make the music. That's more than I can do.
Well, thank you very much, George, for the compliment. And what I admire most about a person is their character, not their talent, because that's just given to you by God.
Mm-hmm.
The ability to sing or play music that's more or less a born ability. But everyone can be nice to each other, but they don't necessarily choose to be. Many people
10%
choose not to be. Yeah.
of the American people are crooks and murderers, and I'm so sorry about that.
Yeah,
They're just too
I
many.
wish it was only 10%.
Just too many.
But I think you're more optimistic than me. I think it's a lot more than it's more than 10%. But
I have to admit that I want to be optimistic,
yes,
not pessimistic,
yeah.
which is not very nice to be in life. John, it's very nice of you. Thank you for
Thank you,
taking
George.
that interview.
Thank you very much. So how was that? Not too painful, right?
Done? Well, you can't.
Unless there's something else that you want to.
Pardon?
Unless there's something else you want to go over. I mean, of course, we can always pick this up at another time.
No. Well, whatever's not that good, you can take that out.
Oh, yeah. No, we're definitely going to edit it. Yeah,
And John, I want to ask you, after you put this all together, I would love, if we could, I would love for us to watch a small DVD. It's only 50 minutes. It's kind of operatic, but it's very funny.
But you know what I thought we could go over is maybe some of the photographs. What are we looking at?
This is our little cottage, which I explained earlier. But it didn't have electricity. It only had outside water, but we were very happy in it.
And that's the house in Germany?
Yeah, our little cottage. My grandfather had had those 3 gardens, and in one of them he put that up for my mother and her family, so to speak. Now here, this is the cottage I'm living in now. That's the way it was when it was first built. It didn't have the overhang porch and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't have all the shrubs and everything.
Anything else that we should see here? Or?
If you can take a picture of this here. Here I'm in our garden. I was 2 years old, and like I said before, until I was 2 years, I was Shirley Temple's counterpart in looks. You can see that. And from then on, it went down. Can you see it?
Yes, I'm looking at it.
And here's my brother, who was 2 years younger than I am. But I was maybe 4 years old here.
And who's that in the uniform?
And in the uniform, this is my father when he was drafted in 1939. He was in the army he was a captain in the army for only a year, because by then he was old enough to be released. And maybe I can show you my mother and my grandmother and my 2 aunts.
Mm-hmm.
That is me when I was 15 and confirmed.
Very nice suit, George.
This is same suit and everything. He was sitting in the spring in our garden. This is my mother and my father, who were here in Pittsburgh with me. And this is my grandmother and grandfather, who had the flower shop and who had the gardens. Maybe I can show you 2 aunts. My grandmother had 3 children, 3 daughters, no son. My mother was the youngest. Maybe I can find any of my aunts. This is me at the White Horse Inn in Austria. Here is a picture when I got married. I'm divorced, but we were still friends. Wiltwood, my former wife, she died when she was 80, a little over a year ago. And hold on. Me. This is one of my aunts. Parents came on the Hanseatic. This is a Bremen. I don't know if my parents here. They came on the Hanseatic and they left on the Bremen because they wanted to stay 2 weeks longer than they planned. And
all right, that's good.
That's
Yeah,
my
there's some
DVD
collection.
collection.
And you watch all of these?
All.
These are all operas?
All operas.
Wow.
Some I like more than others. And I put them in alphabetic order. I want to show you. Does that make sense to you?
Sure.
It says, with the composer Adolphe Adam.
Uh-huh.
2 A's, very first ones. There are more here.
Wow. These are all
And
operas.
some of them are operettas like The Merry Widow, wonderful, or Night in Venice, wonderful. Funny. What they did is take my breath away, and this was my best one I have. When I die, your mother can take most of them. Maybe she can leave a few here so that people would know what I use this for. But anyway, and those are German movies, old German movies. Here's a good one. This one is so funny. La Fille Margardée. Oh, I can see it again. It's so funny. It means the girl considered bad.
And do you watch any regular TV, or you only watch your DVD collection?
I watch regular TV too. Kitchen channel, movie channel, things like that. Sometimes the news. And once a week, I want to know what the weather will be for the week,
And do you use the internet at all?
I don't have that.
You don't have a computer?
And I don't have, because I was never brought up on a computer, and I don't even know how to use it.
Very nice collection, George, and you keep it so nice.
It's almost 85% of all operas. It's not all of them,
Wow.
but 85%. There's some from Hamburg, there's some from Berlin, because these are not alphabetically.
Do you have OCD, George? Do you have OCD?
What do you mean, OCD?
Obsessive compulsive disorder? I mean it as a joke, really. Okay. All right. If you want, I can stop filming you. If you want, I can stop filming you. I think we got enough.
Did you want to put that somewhere else? Or?
Oh, yeah, I'm going to start packing this stuff up now and put it all away.
And do you have to go to the bathroom?
No, I do not.
Do you want a glass of wine?
Oh, no, I don't.
We can have some cookies.
No, we just had lunch, so I'm quite full, actually.
Look at that.
So there you have it. That's George in a nutshell. The DVD collections, the stories, the recollections, a very well-lived life, and I think something to be learned for us all. So thank you for watching. If you're watching and you're a personal friend of George and you would like to leave a story or a comment, please feel free. Please subscribe to the channel, and we'll keep you posted with more videos in the future. Okay. Thank you, everyone.